Electoralism doesn't work, guys. We all know that. Well, to be precise, electoralism doesn't work up to a certain point, and America is well past that point. At this point, America is long past that. And the reason electoralism doesn't work within the American system is because you have two corporate parties who have been brought by corporations. You gotta remember, corporations are considered people in the United States. And we have legalized bribery, which is called lobbying. You don't see that in any other developed country. It's only in the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's only in the United States. And when your corporations have that much power over your government, your people basically have no power over it. And this is the lie that liberal democracy sells us, is that the people have a say in government. Well, they do. They have the illusion of a say in government. That's what they really mean by that. In reality, the people don't really have a way to change their country. And that's America. But there are better existing systems out there. They exist in the Far East. It's called meritocracy. But that idea is completely alien to Americans. Because to them, there can be no system better than democracy. And they worship democracy like a religion. So even saying that there's an alternative, better system than democracy is blasphemy. and if you suggest, if just say, they often quote the Churchill, what Churchill once said: democracy is the worst system, except for all the others. Except Churchill had no clue about meritocracy. He was a fool who, we know about him, okay? He was just a fool. We can just leave it at that. But he's a byproduct of that liberal democracy. So, of course, he would support the system which raised him up. And so people are stuck in this belief that democracy is the end of history. There can be no better system. And that's because they were never taught alternative systems that existed elsewhere in the world. They were never told. They were told that to assume that democracy is the best system by far. No other system compares. And their belief is rooted in the fact that democracy gives a say for the people in how their country is governed. In reality, that's not how it turns out. They have the illusion of a say in government. And this problem is amplified because right now we're in the information age, where there's so much information going around. So that includes stuff like misinformation, fake news, the straight out lies being spread all over the internet regarding pretty much all topics. And because there's such an overload of information, people don't know what to think, what to do. There's so many. They don't know. There's nothing to guide them to other possibilities, and because they're told that democracy is the best system, they don't actually actively think of coming up with a better system than democracy. I'm sure we could. I haven't heard of a system other than meritocracy and other forms of technocratic government systems that are better than democracy. But I'm sure there are people out there who could come up with something better. And such people do exist in the West. There's people. There are really intelligent people who can come up with alternatives, but they're being shunned. Their voices are being shunned because democracy is a freaking religion in the West. But that's not to say the rest of the world is like that either, because a lot of people. Let's just take the African continent for example. They've been checking out the East and the West for a while now, and they're seeing the positives and negatives of each system. They see what meritocracy is achieving in the East, what highly capable leaders who, even though they weren't elected, they came to power in many Eastern countries such as Singapore, and they see what's being achieved there, and they actually like that. Whereas in the West, they see the division, they see a lack of unity, and they see so much infighting that no progress is being made. And even the little progress is that you do see is meaningless, because that system, that exploitive system, still exists there. Now they may not go that far into thinking at it at first glance, but it becomes obvious the more you research into that topic. Now, a lot of liberals will think, the end of democracy. Oh no, what's our world come to? And they think they fall into, and not just liberals, but common folks who are not into politics. They fall into this nihilistic thinking that the world is going into a darker place. In reality, it isn't. It's actually going into a much brighter future, and that's a transition. The transition we are seeing from democracy to meritocracy and more meritocratic systems. So either liberal democracy is going to evolve by implementing parts of these systems, or it dies out. It gets completely replaced, even in the West. I don't know how that's going to go, but it will happen eventually. And I just wanted to say, like, most of us know, if you know about meritocracy, you know what it's actually capable of. But most of us who don't know, I just want to say, be hopeful for the future, because the prosperity we are about to see is going to dwarf anything we have ever seen before. We're going to make so much progress that previous systems like liberal democracy will lose their religious status, and we go into more practical thinking. We evolve basically, and we're more open to alternative ideas, because ironically enough, liberal democracy is praised for its openness, but it's actually it produces the most close-minded people I've ever seen. So yeah, this is just a video about why electoralism just doesn't work at this stage, and the trends that are soon to be. That's what we're going to see in the future. So yeah, that's all for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.